Hi, welcome back to our channel and back to the tutorial for machine learning. Today we're going to see the topic called supervised learning with example. Supervised learning. So supervised learning is one of the method. So on the learning concept here, it happens in person of supervised only. Here the data is the important one. Data in the sense what is contains the input and the output here and model. Here the model framed with the help of input output that is called under the category that is called patterns here. Let's use the options here. Here, whenever the after training, whenever we are going to train the system with some model, whenever we get the new input, it will predict the output based on the patterns here. That is the observation, observed data. So moreover, here we have to remember the important thing that is called labeled data. What is my labeled data? Labeled data means each and every data has some name. Let's say example here, human can train the system. Remember, so whenever new input come, it will generate the output based on the pattern only. That is observation. Let's say example, you can say an image that represents an apple and a cupcake. So identify. So we are going to train the system. After training, get the training, the system will identify when we are going to feed the information like image. It will the system will predict and say whether it's apple or cupcake. Moreover, we here the model is built to predict the outcomes also. Is one of the fast learning mechanism with a high accuracy. So here let's assume that we are training the data with some model. Here is the apples and cupcakes. So once you give the training, what will happen after that? It will classify and decide, and the outcomes after applying this learning model, it will decide and give the output like a cupcake. So which is whether it's if at all a cupcake, it's a cupcake class. If at all apple, it's a apple like this. Then supervised learning. Generally, supervised learning consists of two things. One is called two types called one is called classification, another one called regression. Here classification is what? That means is about predicting the class or discrete value. Example, and or you can say to group the output inside a class. And also example you can say whether it's, we have after get the training, the system can decide, the machine can decide and predict whether the data is like male or female. You can say example male or female or true or false like that. Okay, the next one is the and classification is the one, and also it come with a sorry. So regression is that it's about predicting a quantity or continuous values. Here is classification just to predicting the class only, but here is about predicting a quantity or continuous value. Example, you can say salary of a person based on the work experience. And let's go for another example. We'll get more clarity about classification regression here. So here one more, sorry, repeat it again. So here let's let's take another example. We are going to train the data computer. Remember in supervised learning, here what will happen means the input or output already known by the system easily here. So we are going to feed the images of dog and cat and applying the model and decide whether you had to find whether the system had to find the predict whether is a dog or cat. So when I give dog, it will say prediction say the image is dog. Whenever you give cat, it will say cat only after activation. For regression also, here let's assume that we have an example here. We are going to give temperature and temperature input and rainfall as input, and we have to predict the. We are going to predict the rainfall in centimeter values for a given temperature or pressure here. So for this one, what will have to do is we are going to assume and say this is the rainfall. So when I go this is the temperature, this kind of rainfall will come. Like that, we are going to feed some data. So based on the observation, based on the feeding, based on the algorithm, after analyzing, it will predict and give the output here, proper output here. So here, remember, so we are going to predict the rainfall in centimeter values. So we are going to give the input like this only, temperature and rainfall. After applying this model, it will say the rainfall in centimeter exactly. And remember, it's always in the continuous or decimal value. Even salary of the person is a continuous value here. Apart from this, classification consists of the following algorithms like decision tree classification, random process classification, and k-ness sniper. And next one is regression. It's come with some of the algorithms like logistic regression, polynomial regression, and support vector machines. These are about short introduction about supervised learning. What is supervised? I hope that you understand what is supervised learning and why we need, and with some real-time examples. If you have any queries or suggestions, please kindly communicate with the following social media. And thank you for watching the video. Thank you.